right, y'all, we are talking today about the new core line from ISAMAYA Beauty that is now at Sephora. If this is your first time here, I have reviewed her previous releases. I reviewed Industrial when it came out, and I reviewed Wild Star, I believe, when that came out, and I did not buy Industrial 2, but suffice it to say, ISAMAYA has a reputation for having a strong point of view, a very strong aesthetic. And this one, I feel like we've talked about this before, but obviously the whole thing was a little bit more, let's say, streamlined for the Sephora customer. This is not penis lipsticks. This is not bondage eyeshadow palettes, okay? We're talking about kind of a medical aesthetic. I did watch her release video. We will talk about that as we go through each product, kind of what she was intending. But let me go ahead and tell y'all what products I bought from the line. I didn't get everything. First, I got the color correcting serum. I got this in the purple because that is what they suggested for my skin tone. I may go back and try the primers at some point, but like this was already a face serum. I was just like, how many face serums could I possibly need? Because they all seem to have a face serum consistency. So I did that, already lost the lid. I mean, game over, come on. And I got the blush duo in Saffron. I picked up the Hyalurolip. She is a lip product queen, and so she had so many lip products in this line that I couldn't pick up all of them. Again, eventually maybe we will. I have tried some of them before from her previous releases, and we'll chat about that, but this was one of them. This is kind of a serum lip gloss, a lip gloss that has very good like skincare serum properties, right? In the same packaging, I picked up the Fluid Concealer in the shade Fair. The lightest shade that they had. Lots of thoughts here. So many thoughts. I picked up another shade in the Liplacq. I started out with the black one in her first release, and so I bought this orange one this time. I thought that this color was really exciting and I wanted to try it. So that shade is Rust. I got one of the lip liners. She put out a huge range of skin tones in these nude lip liners. I got Flat White. That's what my ex-boyfriend used to call me. True. And finally, I picked up the Sculpting stick in Beech. It just makes me think of Jenna Marbles. It's like, Beech. I apologize. That might be the new sale from now on. Beech. So, what else is there to do but talk about this stuff and put it on? So let's go ahead and jump in. I do want to start with a bit of a disclaimer because ISAMAYA is a kind of cult of personality, right? And that can be polarizing. For any makeup artist who is attaching their name and their personality, like their online presence, to their line, often that can make us feel one way or the other. I have been very disappointed with the tone of the comments recently. I understand that we're all under a lot of pressure right now. There is a lot going on. There is a lot stressing people out. I am not the one oppressing you. There are literally thousands of incredible people who watch every one of my videos, and I want those people to continue to feel safe in my comment section. And I just want to remind anybody who feels like today is the day to say something nasty about me or nasty about anybody in my comments that the hide user from channel button is forever. So consider whether that comment is worth never being able to comment on my channel again, because this is not a democracy and it doesn't matter how right you are. In space, no one can hear you scream. We are all adults here. Let's act like it. I have my sunscreen on, and I do want to start with lip prep. So we're gonna start with the Hyalurolip. I'm not gonna talk prices individually because I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I don't pay a lot of money for products, for makeup products. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to clutch my pearls about these prices. I knew what I was getting myself into, but they are not cheap. The entire group of things that I bought, I think, was over $300. It's kind of wild, but like at the same time, I just bought the new Prada eyeshadow palette. I think it's like $75 or something crazy like that. Okay, so this is the component. Sorry for the ADHD in advance because it's not changing. And you twist the bottom here so that it unlocks, and then you use it like a little syringe, right? The whole thing with her line is, it's very much like equal parts cosmetics and skincare, which I think helped me to sort of put it in perspective after using it. Like, I watched her release video, her explainer video, after I got all this stuff. And I was like, it all feels a little disconnected in terms of like again, having a strong point of view, and it makes a little bit more sense when you think about it like that, where she has really prioritized putting skincare ingredients into everything that she did. That is not for everyone though, because skincare really multiplies the reasons that you might have a reaction to a product, and a lot of people would rather not think about that when it comes to their cosmetics purchases. They would rather be like, this is my skincare, this is my makeup, let's keep church and state separated so that I can isolate when something bothers my skin, you know? So that's just a little bit of it. You can really go to town with this stuff. I do think that I want to say, like, you know, positives here. When you do a pump on this, it's like the right amount. I love that. I also really liked the like little tip on the doe foot when Makeup by Mario put out his new lip glosses, because it's like this little cup shape that perfectly is like lip shaped, but like when you dip it in, even if it's empty, it comes out with like the perfect amount of product on the end. And I'm like, I like attention to detail like that. And I like that when you push this, it's not like, you know, I like that a lot. Also, even though this is like, she says, I love chrome, it is plastic, but it's still pretty heavy. I feel like there might be an artificial weight in here. And then I can't read Braille, I'm sorry, but she did bother to put Braille on here. I will say that like, this is lovely. It is really nice. I'm not sure exactly how effective of a treatment it is, but it doesn't dry my lips out, and I love a gloss. Let's talk about this little one here. So this color correcting serum comes in a green and a purple, and then it goes into skin tones. I have a lot of questions about how she chose to approach complexion. The main one being when we're talking about like a skin serum that she's using as like an alternative to an actual coverage product. It's more of just a skin evener kind of product. And also her corrector concealer thing that she put out. I want to know why we have, what, 6 shades in those, but we have an exhaustive shade range in her contour stick and her lip liners. Clearly she knows how to approach skin tones. But why did we get this very, very limited skin tone range in these products? Like, I am not going to be the apologist for putting out like a small complexion shade range and saying, oh, we'll expand it later. She didn't say that, but that's what I'm kind of assuming here, especially we'll talk about with the concealer. So anyway, I had one big issue with this, and it might have actives in it. I'm sure that it does. Everything does in this line. And so maybe that's why it was sealed the way that it was when it came, because it was like one of those sort of capsule things that you pull off when you're like mixing together like a mask that's active. Like if you did your own peels or something like that, it has that lid on it that you pull off one time, and then you have to attach this bad boy on here. I am telling you, I don't know if I was having a bad day, but it was like enough to send me through the roof. It was like catching your sleeve on a doorknob. Like that was how it felt. This thing just kept popping off, popping off, popping off. And like, I don't mean to be dramatic here, but like my mom has rheumatoid arthritis. Like she would never be able to do that on her own. Like it would be an emergency. She would be calling a friend. And that renders the product not unusable, but like unusable in the way that it's intended, because getting that little thing on there is damn near impossible. So let's put it on. You have to just squeeze the little tip here, right here. Yeah, okay. So that's that. I don't hate this. It is mica-y. You know, it has glitter to it, which I'm not a huge fan of. Not because it bothers me, but because it, again, it's kind of like a polarizing choice. Not everybody wants to have shimmer up close when we're talking about a complexion product, okay? That really, I didn't put very much on. I feel like my skin could soak up even more. I should say, when we're talking about a new line like this, actually with any review that I do, I approach it with 2 standpoints. There's like, do I like it? What was my experience with it? And then also trying to bring you as close to the product as possible without you actually being able to touch it, so that you can make a decision for yourself. So in terms of the experience of using this, it's really nice. It smells like licorice, which makes me think it must have some kind of like licorice root extract in it or something. Is that how science works? However, and I just wanted enough so that you could see the texture of the product, because my skin is so dry. It's gonna, you know, anything. But I feel like it balanced my skin out insofar as it canceled out the yellow tones in my skin, which like, you can really see that. I am not here for a corrector in the sense of telling me that my skin is too warm and therefore we need to even it out, because I'm not gonna rub it all over my whole body. I wanna make sure, I think I'm supposed to put that all over. I just wanted to make sure that the directions said to apply all over, and it does. Again, we're talking about something being corrective for my undertones when that just makes it not match my neck anymore. I mean, I feel like you can very clearly see, not just from iridescence, but also from like purple tinge, that my skin is like silvery now because that purple cancels out all the yellow in my skin, and now we're just left with two different colors, which, what good does that do me? I'm not sure. I also made the huge mistake of powdering this. That product did not like being powdered. It broke up so nasty on me and kind of like gathered in this weird consistency in like the places that my face bends. It was just like not the experience that I want to have when I have a no makeup face on. I think that the whole point of no makeup is that it wears in over the course of the day instead of like wearing off and looking patchy and needing to be touched up. The whole point is like, I'm okay with my skin showing through because that means I don't have to touch it up throughout the day, whatever. I feel like this did me dirty. You know, throughout the day, I just like noticed, I was like, oh, that's a sparkly purple spot. Do you know what I mean? And in the way that I am still not sure that like I needed a purple color corrector on my whole face. I really wish that there was a skin tone version of this for my skin tone, because it's not a bad texture, you know? I just feel like it's weird that it's like purple green and then like actual skin tones, but only like 4 of them. And I was hoping that she would kind of explain that, but like, that didn't happen, at least not in the video I saw. I didn't like deep dive any further than just watching her release video, but I also don't think that it should be our job as consumers to like seek to understand your product. If it's on the shelves at Sephora, I should be able to touch it and understand what it's gonna do. All right, this is not going to be a pleasant thing that I'm going to say here. This is a really, really strange set of decisions that she made. I think this is the worst decision that she made, and that is making the, she calls it the Point Lift, yeah, fluid concealer. I feel like it's such a layup to complain about a tiny shade range, but am I missing something? Like why is this the lightest shade that we have in the line? Like, ew. Ugh. Okay, guess I need to shake it. Ugh. Okay, ew, 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 ew. Okay, it really refuses not to be separated like that. Mine just doesn't really matter. It doesn't seem to matter. Yuck. Yuck. But also salmon. Calamine lotion. Okay, we finally get it all whipped up, right? And it is quite shimmery. I'm going to grab like an under eye corrector that works on me, and we're gonna compare them. Here we have the Super Luminous Under Eye Genius Corrector from Beauty Pie. It looks just like the Becca Under Eye Corrector, and it has an eyelash in it. Get out of there. This is a miraculous little product for my skin tone because you can use it basically as a concealer and it just brightens and doesn't really look like there's much there. It's very castor oil based, so it's really nourishing. And I just want you to see the difference in the color. And I'm also not the fairest skin toned person in the world, right? But that's the Beauty Pie one. That one works on me. And then that's hers, and you can just see how peachy orange and just too deep it is. I understand what she was going for, but we need to go like 3 more shades in every direction because this is just not it. And I really can only use it on my under eyes because as soon as I get into like this area of my face, it's too dark. We've talked about this before, how the main place that a bad shade match is gonna call me out, just like anybody else, is like, you know, the Kris Jenner territory, right? Right here from your jawline to your neck. That's where you're going to see if something's too dark. So I will make an attempt to use this, although I do think that it's a little wild that when she's using it, she's literally just dotting it on her face because like the fact that the serum and the pigment are so separated in mine, that would be a disgusting mess. Yeah, I have to mix it together. So, I mean, you know, it's translucent enough that it works underneath my eyes, but it really is very blatantly salmon colored when I get it on in any substantial, consequential amount on the lower portion of my face. So like, does it function as a brightener? Sure. Is it something that you need to go and pay this kind of money for? No. And I think that it is a product that's half-baked. It should not have come out in this shade range. Hold it. Do not release things that have this few of shades in them and that the formula isn't bound together. This product was not ready to be released. Let's try and put some on my forehead. That's kind of a less risky area, even though it is not as pigmented as my cheeks. We might be able to get away with it. But like, when I think of a brightener, you can kind of see it's darker. You can kind of get off to the races, right? Because you start to look at it and you're like, oh, that's so nice how it cancels out, you know, dull tones in my skin. And also, not everyone's skin responds well to a pink or peach version of a corrector. Some people have, you know, green skin, right? And that thing is going to pull like bright orange on you. Or if you have like really blue skin, it's going to pull bright pink on you. It is a gorgeous texture of a product. It truly is, but it's half baked. Like, she just didn't finish this one before they put it out. There's so much more that needs to be done. And at the end of the day, my reviews depend entirely on whether I would take pride in recommending a product to you and then you coming back and giving me a review of my recommendation. I would feel like an idiot for recommending this to you, okay? Because I know people would come back and be like, Kaki, what was that? I'm gonna take a little bit that's right here on the tip that's left. I'm gonna try to have a pimple here that's bright freaking red. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty product. It is. It does what it says it's gonna do. It's just such an incomplete thought, and it works for so few people, and I feel like so many people could spend their money on this and regret it. All right, let's talk about this here sculpting stick. Again, we have a menagerie of shades in this. So we know that she can do complexion. We know that she thinks in the full color wheel, right? But you can't use this as a concealer. You cannot use that lip liner as a concealer. You know, what are we doing? She really suggests, and this is something that I truly hate doing, but she really recommends drawing this directly on the face. Aggressively contouring, essentially. So let's give it a whirl here. I again got this in Beech. It's very rosy. It's very pretty. The other reason I don't like doing this is because the chances that I'm going to forget where I put it and you're gonna watch the rest of the video while I have an unblended portion underneath my lip, very high chance of that. So I'm gonna use that as kind of a contour in my eyes as well. And we are going to do our best to blend this before it dries. Because she says that it does go down to a totally waterproof finish. But I do not like being in a rush on something like this. And so that delivery system is a little frustrating because if you want to pull it off of the stick, stop that. Oh, that's a blemish. It just kind of caught on an old blemish. If you want to pull it off the stick with another tool, a stick that tiny, I don't know, it feels tenuous, like you're gonna break the stick when you're like hitting with a sponge or something. Obviously you can be really ginger about it, but also obviously other contours exist. I'm really happy for her that, you know, she did go ahead and put out so many shades in it, but like, did we need that many shades in a contour? I'm not sure. Not before we had shades in complexion. And if she hadn't put out a complexion product, I would be like, oh, okay, like this is an auspicious start. I have a lot of faith and optimism in her ability to put out a complexion product or a complexion line in the future. But since we've already seen what it looks like, that faith is a little misplaced, huh? So that's obvious. Wow, that's really obvious. Stop that. It's not a bad color. I should swatch it against Travertine from Victoria Beckham. So I do like Travertine, but again, another delivery system that I don't really agree with. I don't think that this is a very easy way to use a contour. I want to use a contour that like, come on. Like that's a line. So not that, you know, anyone's out here necessarily, I don't know, asking, but the rosier one here, that's this one. That's Beech. And this is Travertine. And I do think that it's interesting that she makes a point to mention that she finds it a little bit frustrating that a lot of color cosmetics lean too pink and they're not natural enough looking when, I mean, sure, the first thing I put on my face was purple. Still, between the concealer and the contour that would be recommended for my skin tone, both of them are decidedly pink. Okay, I have to make this look right. I'm not going to leave it like that, so we're gonna work from a sponge here because that looks absolutely bananas. I'm gonna kind of use it as a little bit more of a bronzer because there's nothing on my face right now. It's so weird, like how many products I've used and there's nothing on my face. I want the results. If, again, this is your first time here, I'm not a full beat girly. I love a no makeup face, but like Glossier. Like, at least there's something there. Adding some life to my skin here, I am gonna go in and pinpoint conceal after the fact, but I want y'all to see what it looks like when you know, use all of her products, especially from a coverage standpoint. I didn't, you know, get the primers obviously, but you wouldn't necessarily be able to see the difference there. Okay, let's chat about this. This is the Skin Enhancing Duo. I will say this is so much bigger than I thought that it was going to be. I was expecting, you know, Farah Hamidi, like little baby tiny blush situation, and she's big. Like, I'm impressed by how big it is. That's what she said, because you can get a brush in there. So this is actually quite orange. So it's not pink, she's right, but I really thought that this was going to be oriented to my skin tone because of how light the highlighter is, and I didn't want to buy a pink blush. I would rather have an orange blush. I love orange blushes, but it is darn pigmented. I think that a lot of people could get use out of this, and the highlighter is actually a little bit too pigmented for me. Like when I put it on my upper lip, it looks like sparkly peach slime. I said it. And I'll use it, I'll show you. It's very pretty. The consistency of it is really pretty, but I'd almost rather just have a clear one. This is on a really lovely hourglass brush. I think this is just like, what a pleasing shape of something. And I've worn this quite a lot. I like it, but it is hollow on me. And if you're unfamiliar with what I mean when I say that, hollow means that there's kind of too much contrast between my skin and the color of the product without the color of the product having more midtones built in. And so it's gonna look translucent on my skin, and you're gonna see my skin showing through in a very clear kind of like Kool-Aid layer of a color. It just kind of looks like it's floating there because it doesn't have any richness built in. I always compare it to like dyeing hair back brown when it is very bleached white. You have to build all the red tones back in order to like support that brown, or it's going to just look like a green gray color because you're working with something that like doesn't have any reds built into it. And so in this case, something in between here would be a beautiful peach color. And that's not a crime to not have that. Like, I can pull out another blush, but I would have loved if this was a cheek duo, there was 2 colors of blush. That would be great. To me, that's a finished thought. That is, I have a point of view. This is what I think is going to make achieving my point of view easy for you. Like, that is the Patrick Ta method. Like when he put out those blush duos, he's like, this is how I do makeup. I want to make it intuitive and easy to do for you in one product. Did he run too far in the wrong direction with that concept and we ended up with those highlighters and we jumped the shark? Absolutely. But it's a beautiful concept, and I think that that's what you are supposed to do when you adapt a vision to a Sephora customer, because it needs to appeal to so many different people. I feel like putting this highlighter in here, the highlighter should have been a different product. It should have been a stick or something like that, because it does really feel a lot like the Chanel Baume Essentiel, but it's a little even soupier. I would have to think, actually. It's not as soupy at all as the Patrick Ta one, but it's pretty slimy. And I would have loved to see this product come out in a way that was like, do you want to wear a vivid orange blush? Let us help you build the mid-tone in so that everyone can wear that color. And it could have been even a little bit more of like a highlighter version of it so that it could base on the cheeks for fair skin tones, and then you could have the pop of coral. And for medium and deep skin tones, it could have acted as that beautiful highlighter on top, just sort of change the order. Again, I feel like we just didn't think these things all the way through. We could have halved the amount of blushes that she put out and made the blush component and the organization of colors so much more intuitive. So yeah, I mean, that is just, it looks like a wash of orange soda on my cheeks. It's a pretty formula. Do I recommend that you run out and buy this? Watch me do the highlighter first before you make a decision. They are very, I mean, they're very, very different textures. Do you see the shine on it? I need to do this with a sponge or something. Like, I don't want to do that with my finger because I'm scared it's going to pick everything back up. All right, Pro Angle Concealer Brush from Beauty Pie. I swear, I haven't gotten anything new from Beauty Pie in ages. They just are happening to come up in conversation today. Very pretty, but also, I mean, you know, that's a face gloss. And the thing I do find frustrating, like I said, is that there's just sort of too much of that peach pigment in there. Watch when I put it on my lip. If I try and use that as a highlight color on my lip, it's actually too dark. It just makes me look like I have a weird, slimy, iridescent mustache. It shouldn't do that. Yeah. There's gonna be some serious remedying when I jump into like the time lapse. Maybe I'll show it to you, who knows? So I, again, got the shade Flat White in her lip liner. I'm interested to see if that's the same color as Beech. Very, very similar to Beech. I wouldn't have really gone for one of the lip liners, but a commenter was like, I saw those colors and I was like, oh my God, grunge. And so she bought a bunch of them and she was like, I love them. Like they are colors that I can't find anywhere else. And so I was very interested. I want to see what the formula is like because there are a lot of colors. It is a little interesting. Like I look at that and I looked at it online and I was like, that looks really cool toned, and it's quite peach on me. Like the whole situation comes out quite peach, which is fine. I bought an orange lip gloss, but it's different than I expected. And that is something that I have seen even in people's thumbnails. I haven't watched reviews from other people of this yet because I wanted to have my thoughts together. But one of the biggest things that I'm seeing is like, this looks different than it looked online. Not ideal. So you can see, it's very pretty. It's a nice, agreeable formula. It goes on really easily. I think it's really pretty. It's a great lip liner. I have no complaints about it. I would want to try more shades. How much can you really say about a lip liner? And then we have the Liplacq, okay? So again, I owned this in the black before, and I had to declutter it because it was wildly expired, but we definitely have a weight in this package. We have the color, you can see the little window there, and I have one really, really nice thing to say about this. Yes, it is going to tingle and spicy tingle your lips to some extent to plump them, but the pigment is present enough that you retain the color of the lip gloss. So it never turns your lips a bright red that's so detectable that it actually overwhelms the color of the gloss, at least not on me, and that's huge. That's why like the Gucci lip glosses made me so mad because they were so expensive and they all just turned red, and not in a pH color adjusting way, like they just irritate your lips. This does irritate your lips, but then it stops. And it's a very comfortable thing to wear. This is a thought out product. And I mean, obviously she has had years to refine this and refine the shades and, you know, get people's opinions on it and stuff. You can definitely tell that this is a formula that's been workshopped way more than a lot of these other ones. It smells pleasant. It's like a, I mean, you can smell the spiciness, but it also has a little bit of like a sweetness. Maybe a little bit of vanilla. That's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's gorgeous. It really is. Oh, y'all are gonna want me to swatch this against the Hermes. Yeah, I'm gonna go grab that in a second. It's downstairs. I think it looks pretty awesome with that kind of like light peachy nude lip liner even, but it also wears beautifully on its own. It's gonna start tingling like I said, but there is such a rich amount of pigment to this without it being a liquid lipstick. I truly don't know how she did it because the presence of the color is so spot on and it's so consistent and the glitter is so pretty and satisfying and the plumping is so effective. I'm so like psyched about this. I want all of the colors because I think that this is the kind of thing that again takes someone's vision and says, here, now you can do it. And I think that those colors are really daring. There's like a navy blue and like a silver and a black, you know? If you wanted to try those colors, this makes it easy. This is buying a makeup artist's decades of experience. That's what you're doing here. That's why I like makeup artist-owned brands, is because you're buying their experience. This feels like something that Danessa Meyers could have put out, and that's a high compliment coming from me. I'm gonna go grab the Hermes. I just went downstairs long enough to like use the bathroom and grab this Hermes Brilliant Poppy so that we could swatch them next to each other, because this is $77 and wouldn't it be nice if we could get something very similar for less money than that? And I caught myself in the mirror and I was like, oh God, that is so pretty. One of the biggest things that she mentioned in her video was like, I want people to be able to achieve like a went to the doctor, got things plumped, got things frozen kind of vibe without having to do that. Like you can do it with your skincare, you can do it with the appearance of your makeup and contouring and things like that. And I feel like this lip liner and this lip gloss are the things that really accomplish that. And I mean, she's clearly very much like, again, a lip person. I mean, look at her lips. Who wouldn't be a lip person with those lips? All right, comparable. That is the Liplacq. And that is Brilliant Poppy from Hermes. This is not plumping. It has absolutely no sensation to it. It has like a citrus smell to it. It actually smells a little bit like the blushes from Violette, which is like, again, high compliment. I love that smell. I wish it came with perfume. So yeah, Brilliant Poppy kind of smells citrusy, which is nice. Wish they put that in everything. And this one has like a little bit of vanilla spicy thing to it, but those are the differences in the color. The Liplacq is going to be just more intense and a little bit more pink. But they do have similar amounts of glitter, but the Liplacq has a little bit more variety in the colors of the shifts on the glitter. Yeah, so like that's everything that she put out that I bought. I'm gonna do a time lapse of some fixing here, okay? And I'm going to put the names of the products on the screen so that you know what I'm doing, because this is just such an incomplete vibe to me that I feel like we're honestly like underselling her vision because it looks so unfinished. The orange is pulling my blemishes out, you know what I mean? All right, time lapse. Walk into the club like you think you nice. Walk into the club like you cold as ice. I know it seems like I ran really far in the other direction of no makeup, but there's something about the contrast, you know, I'm the contrast queen. There's something about the contrast of the orange on my cheeks that is making me feel like I need to solve for it. And so I feel like I've just like been trying to seal the edges. Like that's what I'm trying to do. I have no problem making an orange makeup look like we did it in my last video. This is just a challenge because that blush is just so high contrast against my skin that I'm trying to resolve it without completely losing the spirit of this makeup being like low coverage complexion sort of thing. I did use Orange Blossom on my eyeballs though, and like that makes me really happy. Like that was just thrilling because it goes really well with the lip. So let's jump into final thoughts on these individual products, and then I'm gonna give you my overall take on the release as a whole. Hyalurolip. Yes, just yes, if you want a lovely lip gloss. It's just a clear lip gloss. I'm sure, yes, truly it has some skincare benefits to it. Obviously, hyaluronic acid of some persuasion. Can you get that from other things? Yes, but it's pretty. It meets my needs. I like it. I have no complaints about this product. other than that it might not be that uncommon. We'll talk about the complexion together because I don't feel like complaining any longer. This is not a complete thought. Too much effort went into trying to characterize this as a point of view, and not enough effort went into execution on these products, and it really shows. This right here, there are so many things I would have done differently, and there are so many blush duos out there. Like, go get a Patrick Ta blush duo, okay? Like, this is just overthought. There's something about this that feels like it doesn't belong to her makeup routine. It feels like it's something she conceived of specifically for this release because she thought that it would be something that like a Sephora customer would buy, but that she doesn't really have a strong point of view on this. It doesn't feel like this is something that anyone particularly cared about while they were putting it out. Like, it just doesn't feel like something anyone put passion behind, you know? And that's what you're supposed to want from this, right? Is like, I don't know, anything, honestly, anything that a makeup artist brand puts out should have the feeling of like, this needed to exist. And this didn't need to exist. The contour also did not need to exist in this delivery system. I don't think that it's useful, especially because if you think about this from the standpoint of the price versus the way that she wants you to use this, are you paying $40 for an eyeshadow stick from Laura Mercier? Okay, how much is an eyeshadow stick from Laura Mercier? $33. You're getting 1.64 grams, and in this you are getting, the world may never know. Don't piss me off. You're not gonna tell me how much is in here? You're gonna make me touch a sticker. Oh, you're gonna make me unfold this little brochure. Who conceived of this? Are you serious? What if I actually wanted to know information, ISAMAYA? Where are my tweezers? It probably says it on the listing, but now I'm determined. I have to open this. But make it really easy for us, please. Okay, you get 1.1 grams. And in this one you got 1.64 grams. So you are getting 2/3 the amount of product in this as you do in an eyeshadow stick, a caviar stick from Laura Mercier, and yet they're charging you $7 more for it. It's the same thing that I called out about the Victoria Beckham one. I know, before you show up in my comments and you're like, it's all based on this Burberry stick that everybody loved. Fine. There's a reason that that stick doesn't exist anymore. It probably didn't sell very well because it's a really impractical and overpriced way to deliver this kind of product. I disagree with the entire premise, but also the way that we are expected to kind of suspend our disbelief when you want to call something a contour versus an eyeshadow crayon, okay? Call it what it is. This is not an unpretentious thing to use. This is not some kind of like plebeian thing that we're supposed to pay peanuts for. No, these are the same thing. I have such high respect for eyeshadow sticks, okay? High respect for them. And that's all that this is. Put it in something that works as a contour if you want to call it a contour, and give me a contour amount of product for $40. And while you're at it, take all of the R&D effort and dollars that you put into making this enormous shade range of contours and lip pencils and put it into a complexion range before you release it to the public, okay? And finally, the products that I really enjoy. And it's because she knows what she's doing. She's been doing this for a long time. All of this needed more time. It feels rushed, doesn't it? It feels rushed. The Liplacq is a unique product that deserves to exist. It is something that I feel like does not exist anywhere else in the colors, in the texture, in the efficacy, in the execution. The whole thing is done properly for what it is that you would want from it. It stands out. It has a point of view. It feels like ISAMAYA made easy to use. That is what this does. Do you need a lip liner to go with it? No, there are so many lip liners out there, but it's a nice lip liner. And she did go several extra miles in making a lot of nudes in this shade range. And that's something that often grinds my gears when brands put out a lip liner line, is that I'm like, where did you get these colors? Like, why are there like 9 of them and those are the colors that you chose? We are not as much, I don't want to speak for everyone here, but I feel like trends right now, it's not as much about matching your lip liner to your lipstick as it is about matching your lip liner to your skin, or creating some kind of in-between shade that makes your lips look bigger, not keeping your lipstick from feathering. I feel like lip liner has just taken on a new purpose. So it's like the Rhode lip liners and kind of what they were going for in terms of like being on trend, but it's a much more traditional, easy to approach lip liner kind of delivery system. I like it. I'm glad that I bought it. Overall thoughts on this release, my biggest thing is knowing ISAMAYA's brand thus far, she has never really purported herself to be a no makeup kind of artist. And suddenly that's her point of view. In this line, I feel like she was forced to compromise so much on the approachability of her vision that she watered these products down in concept and instead went with this angle of, yes, we're going to make things that are a lot of textures, we're going to market this as a skincare makeup hybrid, and that's going to be the point of view of achieving, like she said, the things that you might get at the doctor, but with makeup. For that, it does not accomplish it other than the lips. I think that the lips, abso-freaking-lutely. Yes, ma'am, you know lips. I will hand you that. 100%. But the rest of it feels like someone took the square peg of ISAMAYA and shoved it through a round hole of Sephora and just, you know what I mean? Shaved the edges off until it was just kind of neutered. And that's how this line feels. It feels like a bunch of great ideas that were rushed and neutered for Sephora. I don't want to entirely put this on ISAMAYA's name. I know that a company like Sephora has a really big say in what you are allowed to put on their shelves. It doesn't matter what your vision was, they're going to put it through the Sephora filter before you're allowed to put it on their shelves. This might be the largest distance that I have ever seen between the public point of view of a makeup artist and the known point of view of a retailer. And it does feel like that. It feels like a compromise in a lot of ways. I am absolutely willing to admit that a lot of the products that she has had in the past, I'm sure that the face glaze and everything like that, like I'm sure that those are still bangers like they were forever, just the same way that this lip is. It is the new products that are part of this core collection, which I'm hoping core means that she's going to continue expanding. Again, I don't want to put this entirely on ISAMAYA's name because I feel like she knew. I feel like she did the best that she could under the circumstances, wanting to grow as a brand, but putting her point of view through a cheesecloth of Sephora. I feel like neutered is actually a really good metaphor since they wouldn't put her penis packaging on the shelves at Sephora. So, I mean, I don't blame them necessarily, but still, this is a very neutered version of ISAMAYA, and I feel like the compromises are so evident. I hope to see more. Again, I'm not blaming ISAMAYA necessarily for this. It sucks because it is going to be put entirely on her name. I think that we all need to understand the way that these things work, and I don't want to lose faith in her because I think, again, that her vision was probably way bigger than this. So if y'all found this valuable, give the video a thumbs up. If you're new here or you just haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe while you're here. We would love to have you. I will put a video up here that I think you'll enjoy if you liked this one. Thank y'all so much for being here. I love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you in the next one.